Yeah, we reported on Wednesday, August 12th, started practice on Saturday, August 15th, and really the energy level of our players and coaching staff has been very high. I think everybody was excited to get back out here. Obviously, not having a spring practice like we've normally had in the past, but we opened up with a midnight practice, and honestly, we talked about a staff as we walked off that practice field that we did not look like a team that hadn't practiced in months. And so I felt really good about, again, how our kids executed, and again how the energy level of both the coaches and the team, and really excited about the season. And just the interesting thing is, of course, I think we all know that we're trying to navigate through a pandemic, and trying to make sure that everybody's healthy and everybody's playing at a high level. And so it's definitely been an interesting fall so far. It's probably been more stressful for me than anything, to be honest with you, than any other year. But at the same time, it's been a lot of fun because when I get out on that field, it's literally the team and the coaches and our sanctuary where we get out and we feel normal out there. So so I'm just excited to keep continuing to play, and we just take it day by day, and excited to see how our team performs during the upcoming season.
Any questions from our participants?
Coach, I guess just has there been a group or a unit or maybe even a player that's really stood out so far this summer that you can maybe see could be very big for the Crusaders this year?
Yeah, Zeke Kawaya, who is projected to be our starting quarterback. We use the keyword projected because everybody's got to earn that, but he's played a lot for us. He actually had a couple of surgical procedures over the summertime, and he worked extremely well to get back. And so he's been throwing the ball well and has executed very, very well out there. Obviously, we've got a lot of guys in the offensive line that are returning that have played very well. And Derek DJ Johnson, which is a captain for us, is playing very well up front. Got really good players at the tight end position with Hawken Friend and Dede Little. And Hawken is 6'6", nice looking player target wise. Dede Little is probably in the best shape of his career. And then our receiving core has got a lot of guys that have played. On the defensive side, we've got one of the best defenses in the country and in our conference. And Coach DeSoto and his staff has done a great job. Will Anawahi, which is a local player from Kickapoo, is playing extremely well up front. Josh Keys, who's also a local player from Camdenton, playing well up front. We've got some defensive ends. Noah Williams, who's from Tulsa, is playing very well. Seth Cathy, who's an Oklahoma kid as well, playing very well. Tristan Shepard, a linebacker, is having a great fall camp. A young man from Diamond, another local player. And then back in the the safety position, Anthony Laverifon, who's played for us on Saturdays, is playing very, very well. Young man from Wausau, Oklahoma. And so and then our punter is back. We've got our deep snappers back. We got our short snapper back. We've got I feel really confident with the team that we've got coming back. I just hope and pray that we can continue to navigate the COVID and be able to play and at a high level with all our guys.
And with the experience of the line, a new quarterback coming in, will the offense change? Will we see a different look maybe from the Crusaders this year?
Not really. And the reason why is Zeke is actually I wouldn't say we play a two-quarterback system, but we play two quarterbacks literally every week. And Zeke has been playing since his freshman year. He's a senior this year, so the guys are very comfortable with him. The simplest thing from the rhythm of a cadence from a quarterback, how it gets in and it's a little different. All those linemen know the rhythm that he's going to produce up there. And then he also breeds confidence because they know that he knows where everybody's supposed to go, where the ball's supposed to go. He's just a great field general. And so it'll be fun to watch him play out there, really having his, the year where he's not really having to play select snaps while Cam was playing Cam Hardesty. Now he's the main signal caller. And so it'll be fun to watch him just kind of take control of our offense. But, yeah, it'll be very, very similar. We might, there might be some things passing game wise that we might do a little bit different, but you never know who's watching this. So we'll see what happens.
I guess just right now, 2 weeks out, is the team where you expect them to be right now, or are there still maybe you don't want to say you want more time, but as far as where we are right now, the end of August, how do you see your team?
Yeah, I feel really good about our preparation. To be honest with you, we've got everything's installed. So everything's installed from an offense perspective. Everything's installed defensively, and then also special teams. So now what we're doing is just fine tuning it. And so, I mean, we could literally play a game tomorrow, and everybody would know where they're going and what they're doing. And because what your fall camp typically is, and probably a lot of people don't realize this, but what you do in the summertime is you look at your first few opponents, and when you look at your first few opponents, you think, all right, how can I attack them? And so what happens is when you start your fall camp and your installs are based off really your opening game or two or three. And then what happens is really the offense and defense start going against each other because we're not in a scout team mode yet. And so sometimes that play doesn't work very well versus the defense because you wouldn't run it against that defense. And then sometimes the defense wouldn't call that against that particular offense. So there's been a little give and take on the success on both sides of the ball, but it does make me realize, hey, we're on target to where we need to be. And so we've got another scrimmage on Saturday morning, and then the following Saturday we have a mock scrimmage, what we call a mock scrimmage, where we go through all the processes, like how do we function on the sideline, how do we substitute guys in and out, and then obviously that following week will be that game against Clark. So we're really right on target. So excited about how our coaches are getting the guys prepared.
Are those scrimmages, are they on campus, and are they open to any fans, or are they down at Ozark?
They are on campus, and unfortunately with the with obviously the school policy on fans, they won't be open to anybody in the public. And so we had one last week, and we'll have a limited scrimmage this week. So really very few plays, because this time of year you want to have some sort of scrimmage because the defense needs to live tackle. And that's the biggest thing that people don't realize. They need to live tackle, but yet it's a catch-22 because you start tackling too much and then you get somebody banged up. So we're going to run probably anywhere from a 65 to a 70 play scrimmage on Saturday. And if you look at two groups going, you're basically looking at each group's basically getting about 30 plays. So it'll be fun to watch our guys get out there and just play in a game speed type environment.
Coach, we got a couple more questions here in the queue. One, you guys have kind of built into a top 25 team the last 3 years. And, last year you guys was number 6 in the country. How have you managed kind of those expectations in fall camp with a lot of returners coming back, but mingled in with new guys, being on the cusp of the playoffs 2 years in a row? How do you address that in fall camp with your guys, or do you even talk about that at this point?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we refer to it as basically our culture, and we talk a lot about, hey, this is how we do things at Evangel, and we use a phrase, time tested and proven. And so when you look back on some of the things that we've done over the years, the way we've done it has been time tested, and obviously it's proven, and it's proven with some victories on Saturday, and then also fortunate enough to be in the top 25. And so what happens is when a young guy comes in and he sees that a program's been successful, you look at our seniors right now. I mean, they've won 7 games one year, they won 8 games one year, they won 9 games one year. And so, you add all that together, I don't know what mathematically that is, but that's a pretty good amount of games that they've won. And so those young guys can look at these guys, and those guys can say, hey, we got to continue to do what those guys are doing to continue to be successful. And so that kind of breeds that a little bit. And then we also talk a little bit about how good teams, in my opinion, if you're just an average team, there's not much accountability within your team. But if you're a good team, then the coaches hold you accountable. If you're a great team, then your team and your coaches hold you accountable. So we have a system in place where our guys know, hey, that guy in that position group, like I was talking about Zeke Kawaya, he's going to communicate with those young quarterbacks. Hey, here's how we do things here, and you just need to follow suit. And these guys have done a really good job of buying into our culture, and culture is huge for us, and that's a big deal. We refer to it as what you teach and what you tolerate, and we don't tolerate a whole lot here. And so we strive for excellence and perfection in everything we're doing.
Coach, last question we have here. Each of the last 2 seasons, you've had a loss to a team that's advanced significantly far in the NAIA playoffs. Kind of knowing that and looking at the schedule that has been laid in front of you, with kind of COVID and everything that's going on with that, but then planning for a regular football season, how have you kind of prepared the tough schedule that is the Heart? And do you look at anybody differently, or is it business as normal? And, Clark, a second-year program, to kick off the season? Just maybe talk a little bit about the heart as a conference.
Yeah, and that's a good question. But one of the things we talk about a lot is in my opinion, and I hope this sounds the right way, but we say the only team that could beat Evangel is Evangel. And because really, if you look at any game, whether it be collegiate football or it could be any other sport, the team that wins is one that makes the least amount of mistakes. And generally, I was even our scrimmage the other day. I was showing our quarterbacks. I was like, all right, look at that play. Who stopped us on that play? We did. I'm like, all right, who stopped us on that play? We did. And so it's really, and both sides of the ball can say that. And it's just a matter of getting your guys to play at a high level. And our belief is that if you're going to be a good person first. If you're a good person first, you've got a chance to be a good football player. And I know that's cliche as sounded, but I actually believe that. And then also, when you look at our schedule this year, it's our mindset is next man up mentality, because with the COVID, your roster could literally change from week to week. And so our attitude is that everybody on this team has to be ready. We've always talked about how you're an injury, an incident, or a coach's decision away from playing. Well, not the COVID is an incident. I mean, it's basically a pandemic that's going on. So we have to be prepared for that. So literally everybody on our team has to be ready, because at a minute's notice, that guy might be the starter. And so that's really been our attitude. Our attitude is get them all ready. Of course, our attitude's always been that way anyway, but it's probably a little bit more heightened this year than normal, because you're really honestly day to day, so to say, with this COVID going on.
Any more
Have there
questions?
been, I was just going to say, as far as COVID, has there been any, I want to say scares, but any concerns so far with the players?
Not really with the players. The thing that makes the COVID difficult is, let's say, for instance, a young man does test positive. If you look at it kind of on average, if you look at somebody on positive, you've got maybe 4 to 5 guys that might not be able to participate because of exposure. And so that's really the things that you always have to be looking at. But our players, man, I mean, they have been fabulous. And I think if we had a camera following our kids around every day, I think people in this world would actually be look at things a little bit more positively, because you see how our kids, how resilient they are, and extremely resilient, and they just go about their day and just enjoy life and enjoy being out there on that football field. And I think in this day and age, we're a form of entertainment, obviously. I mean, people are buying tickets to come watch us play. And what we do is we put a smile on people's faces. And when you win ball games, you put a smile on more people's faces. So that's what we're hoping to do.
And I was just going to say, I haven't been able to look through the coaching staff, but has there been any changes with your staff?
No, all we've had is, well, we did have I lost a corners coach that took a Division II job. And so we replaced him with a coach that was currently on staff anyway into a full-time role. And so really our coordinators are all the same. Basically, our position coaches are all the same. And then I have a new running backs coach as well. So basically, but he was also in our program. So we've got a lot of continuity with our program and a lot of unity. And again, back on that, if you've got continuity and unity, you've always got a chance to be successful.
And has any former players come in now to help out with the coaching staff?
Yeah, in fact, the young man that I hired at the corners position was a former player. Our running backs coach was a former player. So that's, that we tell them all the time, every day you're on a job interview. And that's a perfect example. I mean, every day you're out there on that field, it's a job interview. I mean, what more do we need to talk about? Why do I need to call you in here? I know what you're made of. And those guys have proven that they could do the job. And so we were able to hire those guys. And it just adds more continuity. And I think, any business, you understand that, that you've got to have people that are all on the same page.
out. Cool out.